That's much better. So what's up?
Okay, sorry, Tom. Hey, Tom, I'm a millennial that owns a small IT firm here in Omaha, Nebraska. We specialize in analytics, software, that sort of thing. And I wanted to touch up on a subject that you brought up last week about manufacturing back in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And you did bring up the fact that we could transition to manufacturing jobs here if we dedicated our time and so, if there was a spearheaded effort.
Right.
But I wanted to follow up on that is I'm concerned that that's just a stopgap measure for AI and automation to take over eventually. I'm concerned that progressives aren't pushing the agenda that a universal basic income is inevitable at the exponential rate in growth of technology and AI.
Well,
and I want to know your thoughts.
I don't entirely disagree with you, and I think that we're inevitably going to be having that conversation in a more serious way, probably a decade or two down the road. But AI and automation requires somebody to manufacture the automation, to program the AI, to manufacture the computers. I lived in China for a month in November of 1986. I lived in Beijing. I was studying acupuncture at the acupuncture hospital there. Louise and I visited Shenzhen, which is right off Hong Kong. They had just turned this into a new manufacturing district in maybe 1985, it must have been, or thereabouts. And it was dirt roads. It was a little tiny town, maybe 30, 50,000 people, something like that. It was nothing. Beijing, there were no skyscrapers. It was this, town out of the 19th century. And you look at China now, it is modern, it is vibrant, and it's because of manufacturing. So and much of that manufacturing is manufacturing that used to be done in the United States. So I disagree that AI and robotics have rendered manufacturing irrelevant. I do agree that over time they're going to reduce the need for labor. That's one option. The other option is what Time magazine was pointing out in 1967 in the article I quote pretty extensively in my book, Crash of 2016. We need to retitle a book now. Which was that if productivity continued, they were saying, this was Time magazine in 1967, if productivity continues to increase to the year 2000 at the same rate and wages continue to follow that productivity as they had for the previous 200 years, then by the year 2000, the average American will be making about $120,000 a year in what would be today's income. Sam and I translated the numbers. Or will be still making the $40,000, $50,000 a year that they were making before, but will be working a 20-hour work week. And, those are alternatives to a universal basic income as well. And the reality is that because of Reaganomics, including Reagan's trade policies, the so-called free trade policies, which were really mostly George Herbert Walker Bush's policies, but and were instituted, he negotiated NAFTA and all that kind of stuff. But that has brought us to where we are, and the result of that is that $17 trillion has been taken out of the hands of the middle class in the last 35, 40 years and given to the top 1%, which is why you now have 8 men, 6 of them Americans, who own as much wealth as half the planet, and that was definitely not the case in 1980 when Reagan came into office. So redistributing that wealth by changing tax policy, changing trade policy, I think is a real possibility. Idris, great to hear from you. Thank you.